Let me start with a broad question about the importance of history for a humanistic education. It seems to me that there's a national trend in higher education towards prioritizing teaching technical skills over a more holistic view of education. One aspect that makes Marquette distinct is its emphasis on the humanities. In your view, how do undergraduate students benefit from a humanistic education, and particularly from the study of disciplines such as history?
There's going to be lots of different answers to that question from different people. I want to home in on maybe the idea of complexity. I think that the thing that the humanities in particular, and I think if we move over to the social sciences, you see some of this too. The humanities is really comfortable with things being very, very complex and asking complex questions. So we're using quantitative and qualitative methods, but we're looking for meanings. That might not, looking for different ways to approach and look at the same problem, admitting into the conversation and into our analysis the possibility that the tools that we might use in one discipline, or even just our own positionality, our own perspective, our own training, or our own experience as human beings, might be limiting our ability to fully comprehend something that we're trying to analyze. And so I think that being comfortable, not just approaching with the expectation of complexity, but being comfortable sort of sitting with that, it also breeds a kind of humility, I think, that's really important if we're going to analyze something that's extremely complex, that can't be reduced just to a single experiment or a single kind of analysis. So I think that's something the humanities is really good at. You also asked about my own discipline of history, I think. Let's see, what shall I say about history? History, I think, reflects that really well because we're confronted as historians with all sorts of materials, usually materials that are coming out of an archive, so little bits of paper that have usually been created by the people that had access to the paper, the pen, the scribes, the time, the reasons to make sort of little scratches on paper and leave a trace in an archive. But if you just think back, we know that only maybe, I'm going to make up a number, very, very little of all of the people and places and events and non-human beings and all of the things that have happened in the past are not in the archive. Right. So a historian is first presented with, okay, I have a lot of material. What's the best method for analyzing this particular material? Do I want to confine myself to a narrative approach or an analytical, quantitative, data-driven approach? What kinds of threads can I pull out to make that into a story that people can actually kind of follow and it has some meaning to it? And then also what's being left out? And sometimes I think that's the most important question of all. What am I not seeing? Historians are always asking that question. It's important to study history. Then again, this is a lot of different answers, but I think James Baldwin said it best. History is always with us. It doesn't matter if we're ignorant of it or not. It's there, and it's forming what we do. We're carrying a lot of stuff around with us. We all have a sort of trail of our identities, where we come from, the way other people perceive us, and we can be ignorant of that or not. But I think we increase our own maneuverability, our ability to reach our goals, our ability to analyze other parts of our world with which we're interacting if we are a little smarter about it, investigate a little bit where we came from.
Yeah. That's great. Thank you so much.